Hey guys, AwesomeAni back here, and in this new series, we are going to be learning chess on this website called leechess.org. And if you haven't already, you should create a leechess account. And so here I'm gonna go to study, and in this video, we're gonna be learning the Sicilian Defense. And so we'll search Sicilian Defense, Lenin Perez. Whoops, I accidentally pressed C. And Lenin Perez is like a really good person on this Lichess, and this he makes a really interactive and yeah. Okay, so the Sicilian Defense. So here, the Sicilian Defense is the introduction. The Sicilian Defense is a defense that arises after e4. So e4 is, so this is usually played as black, and you use it to counter this so they can't put their queen's pawn out. So this kind of like stops them from doing their main move. So here, and then the next move they see here is right here. And now if they move their queen's pawn with their knight guarding it, we should still take it because a central pawn is worse. Capturing a central pawn is much better than capturing like a C pawn. And now the way we attack this pawn is by moving the knight up here. And there are 4 variations that we're going to talk about in this video. These are the main ones. So if you either do this move, so G3, G6, and then A6, knight to B6, and then E6. So those are the different ways you go from that point. So we do this. And then we capture the pawn, and then we now go for that pawn. And this is the Najdorf variation, which is when you move this pawn here, because lots of these pieces are attacking this one square, and when we guard this square, we can push this pawn. Now, because we need to have a good idea of the center, this is called the English attack by moving on that knight. And now we can do all of these great moves after, and this would be a pretty good game for us. Okay, now we're going to be doing a dragon variation. So in this position, we want to move this pawn, capture the pawn, and now, oh, whoops, wrong move. We want to go on that pawn, and now the dragon variation is to perform this type of structure, pawn structure, which I guess kind of looks like a dragon tail, which is why they named it the dragon variation. And the next one that we're going to be doing is actually the hyper accelerated dragon variation, which is when you push this G pawn fast before doing some other moves. Now we have a pretty good structure. After moving that bishop, we have this really nice diagonal here. And then further moves are probably going to be castling, moving the knight out, the bishop, and yeah. Now for the hyper-accelerated dragon, so we play the first moves. Instead of pushing this pawn, we push the knight out here. Now when we capture the pawn, we have at least some protection. But instead of moving this D pawn, D6, we play G6. And this is like a more accelerate. So there's the dragon variation, dragon accelerated variant, and then the dragon hyper accelerated. So for here, we're gonna be immediately, like, the second move is the hyper accelerated dragon. So that's the fastest way you can activate the dragon variation. And so if you get into this type of position, this is called, pardon my pronunciation, Sicilian Defense. And it's like the main line of the Sicilian Defense. So you secure like the two central squares, and now you kind of like carry out the same type of move as the Najdorf variation. And then when you complete your development, you would go and attack this knight with the pawn. So we have the classical variation here, which is the fourth variant that constitutes the group of open variations of the Sicilian Defense. To play this variant, instead of playing e6, a6, or g6, you must play knight to c6. So this is the most typical way of posing the Sicilian Defense, because that's just the way it is. With this move, white intends to damage our pawn structure. What should you play then? What we should play is... I encourage you to pause the video and try to solve this yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna be trying this. I think the best move is probably maybe going for the queen here. Taking the pawn. So I'm going to continue to try here. White intends to damage our pawn structure by taking this. So maybe, yeah, moving that pawn out to get the queen to attack, to defend the knight. So our first move is this. This is called the Old Sicilian. And you just capture like this, and then you bring your knights out, and then you attack this knight here, this is called the Pelican variation of the Sicilian Defense. This variant is due to the Czechoslovakian Grandmaster Argentina Jiri Pelican, and Kramnik and Liko have been one of the people who made the most use of this Sicilian variant. Okay, so now we play d6. So we have this knight here. How do we attack it? We could bring the queen. We can push the pawn out, and that's the Pelican, the basics of the Pelican variant. The knight, this is the French variation. Also, yeah, French variation. Capture the pawn. A6 here. Whoops, I meant to play A6. This is called the Paulson variation, and with their pawn movements, they control the horse gems. Okay, Sicilian. What would you play in this position? Capture the pawn, so we want to take it this here. Now white has a lot of space, so how do we get some space? We can move some of the pawns out. So white has space over there, maybe. So pause the video and try to do this yourself. I'm gonna actually try doing this. Yeah, so this is how you should play against the Alpine variation. And now we fight for the center, and we have a strong knight on d5. The first move, this is called the closed Sicilian. The defense transposes to like a closed position. Okay, so that's it for the Sicilian Defense, at least on leechess.org. If you would like to, also you can create an account on leechess.org. Lenin Perez is a great study creator, and he is really good on explaining these type of variations. And if you would like to learn any specific chess opening, just go on Leechess, search for it. And yeah, please like and subscribe. Please, if you have any video ideas, put it in the comments below. And yeah, thank you guys, and have a great day.